Borisova, and I'm the founder and trainer at Luxembourg School of Contemporary Etiquette. I'm happy to welcome you to Lux Etiquette and Service Cafe, the only space of the kind in Luxembourg. I have created this area not only to share a cup of coffee with my soulmates, but also to fill you with my passion for etiquette and service. There are two driving forces in my life: elegance of communication and serving others. It's not only if you're famous, if you are on YouTube or in the news, you are an impactful person in the area of your influence. People who can influence on our lives might be our neighbors living next door, but we are not aware of it. And I like opening up people here, because everyone is special and really unique. I see it as my mission to present you in the most authentic way by inviting you for a conversation over a cup of coffee, the great influencers of Luxembourg who create present and future of this unique country. Now I want you to make your cup of coffee, sit comfortably and get ready to meet my absolutely extraordinary guest. I want you to absorb everything he is saying, because everything he is sharing with you is so empowering. He was born and raised in Zimbabwe. He started his career in Luxembourg in aircraft maintenance industry, working as a maintenance engineer. At some point of his life, he changed his professional path to pursue a career in changing people's lives. And for about 5 years now, he has been acting as a co-active life coach, specializing in somatics and trauma healing. He works on overcoming limiting beliefs, coping mechanisms and defense mechanisms created in childhood. And his goal is to help his clients create longer lasting change and fulfillment. He believes in healthy mind in a healthy body. He is a proud father of two amazing girls who are his inspiration and his drive and the purpose of his life. And he also is a blogger. If you go and visit his YouTube and Instagram vlog Here and Now, you will get tons of valuable information. It's my pleasure to welcome my today's guest, Lyndsay Whitby. Hello, Lyndsay.
You're far too kind, Angela.
Thank you for accepting my invitation.
It's a pleasure.
It's still very early in the morning, but you look so energized. How did you energize yourself?
I wasn't born in Gen X, so apparently that's what changes a lot. It's the generational thing, right?
Oh, well, yes.
No,
we'll talk a little bit about it before the interview.
No, my morning routine is meditation, and it's become very religious since the beginning of the year for some reason. For a long time it was on off, but there's been a shift in my own purpose and energy, and now it's a ritual. So there's a 25-minute meditation in the morning. I go to the gym, and then I'm fresh, and I have two little girls that keep me energized from the beginning as well. So
to do meditation, going to gym, doing your morning procedures, it takes quite a time. So when do you normally wake up?
I'm up usually by 5:30, 5, 6 o'clock. Yes.
Oh, so early. So you wake up really early, and then you energize yourself with your morning rituals, and then you're ready for a new working day. Oh, great.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
really great. You know, Lyndsay, at my etiquette classes, we learn how to be a good conversationalist.
Okay.
And we normally start with a small talk.
Okay.
Are you a small talker, or you prefer big talk?
I can do any, but I prefer deep spiritual healing. But I can do any. I'm happy. I pride myself on being able to mix in any energy circle, be it superficial, be it professional, be it just networking, be it healing, be it coaching. So
you don't need anything to start with to find like common grounds to build the kind of rapport in the beginning.
No.
Okay,
no.
so you could go deep into the topic, the conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Ah, interesting.
Absolutely.
Lyndsay, you're a coach.
Yes.
And coaches never say, go and do this.
No.
Yeah, or take this and do this and put it there.
Yes.
Instead, you use the power of asking questions.
Yes.
When did you realize that questions could be powerful and could impact people's lives? So what's your story? How did you arrive to coaching?
Wow, that's a great question. Through through my childhood, adolescent years, one of my coping mechanisms is listening. Okay? So I became a good listener. And as you grow up, you find you're always the one who's at the back. You're the ear that people come to lean on, or to bend, as we say. Until a certain age, I think I was 26, 27, I was in an unhappy marriage. And my stepfather, my mother's husband, Brian, he was a CEO at British American Tobacco, and he had a personal coach and an executive coach. So that's the first introduction I had to the power of coaching and questioning rather than listening and giving advice. And he did a short introduction to coaching to help me with my dilemma of my stuck marriage. And I fell in love with the idea that you could help people with their own power. Rather than saying, I know the answer to your life, you could actually help someone discover more authentically the answer to their own life. And so it was around 26 that I discovered this magic of coaching. And it took a lot more years before I actually got on the path. But that was my introduction to coaching.
In one of your interviews on your blog, you said that it's not enough to intellectualize things anymore. You need to teach the body to be what you want to be.
Absolutely.
And your area of coaching is dealing with body, so it's somatic coaching. Why did you pick up somatic coaching? And what is the difference in holistic and somatic approaches?
It's very similar, though, because when you combine coactive and somatic, it's a combination of the full body. But what we've evolved into, due to the pharmaceutical industry, without trying to put blame on anyone, is the head-down approach of healing and growth. So we start here and we medicate and we fix the mind. But if the body doesn't learn to change its physiology, it's like somebody who's got a lot of fear instilled, and you see their posture. Okay, and then you can teach them all the theory about how to not be afraid, all the mantras. But if the body is in a defense survival mode, it's very difficult, because that person might be able to do what you say, go and stand up and public speak, go and do what you need to do as a challenge.
I'm happy.
But yes. And then as soon as the body comes into play, it goes into that I'm afraid. So we have to change the posture. We have to see where there's a lot of the shoulders, the jaw is the first places we see that there's some survival mechanism still in play.
So in a few words, what is somatic coaching?
It's understanding the body, just understanding because the body holds trauma. So if something traumatic happens, and it doesn't even have to be something tragic like a car crash or a near-death experience, it can be something as small as emotional neglect. The body stores that memory. So no matter how much the brain tries to change that mindset, if the body doesn't learn how to shift that and where that energy is stored, we find a lot of illnesses, a lot of people gain weight. And they eat well, they go to the gym, they do everything, but somehow they can't seem to lose this weight, and they even gain. And that's a sign that the body is got emotional suppression, that it's not healing and letting go. And that's the importance. It's very, very old. They used to use it hundreds of years ago. But we've just shifted due to like I said, the pharmaceutical industry. It's easier to treat people now with a chemical than to actually understand, okay, what happened in childhood? Are you happy in your marriage? Are you happy? Are your kids stressing you? How is your work? And then seeing where that is kept in the body and trying to understand that and heal that. It's easy to give you a sleeping pill, right? But if the problem is deeper, you're going to have insomnia for a longer time.
Doesn't solve it. Another area of your coaching is inner child healing.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And how did your interest in this topic arise?
Angela, you know, it's an intriguing question, because it lines up with the question that I won't ask the question, but just to show how it's like what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's one of those riddles you just don't know. And it was my journey, almost my destiny, because I can't say I grew up wanting to do inner child healing. I can't say ever studying as an aircraft mechanic, I never ever dreamed of being a coach or healing.
Was it when you became a father?
That's true. It was the coaching journey and Sophia. Sophia was a big trigger for me to look at what it is I needed to be better at and heal. And I met a gentleman called Ken Mossman. He works only with men, and he does inner child healing. And he did a session with me once, and I saw the power in understanding and healing the inner child. And I guess I just fell in love with it then, because it impacted me so powerfully. Yes.
Ah, interesting. On your blog, on Instagram at least, you have a series of video episodes with your friend Nima.
Yes.
And you are trying to educate people what coaching is about.
Yes.
And you said that you wanted to show the fun in coaching.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
And it reminds me of one episode on YouTube by comedian Bob Newhart, playing starring as a therapist.
Okay.
Maybe you saw it as well.
No.
So the plot is that he is a therapist,
Okay.
and a client is entering his office, and he is setting up the rules immediately. He's saying that the session would not last longer than 5 minutes. And you'll be able to ask any questions what you have time for it, and you could start immediately. And she starts, I am the person who has fear to be buried alive in a box.
Okay.
She said, okay, I'll give you one more rule. I will tell you the 2 words, and I want you to incorporate them into your life. And she was, of course, excited. What 2 words? Shall I put them down? No, you will remember. And he said, just stop it. Next question. And she said, but it was since my childhood. I was a little kid when I started having this fear for being buried alive in a box. And he said, we'll not go that far. No, we'll not go that far. But in your inner child healing, do you go that far to your childhood or to your client's childhood to see what could be the problems and how to help the person to overcome those issues in his current life? So do you go that far, or do you just say, stop it? Is that the job of a coach?
If it was that easy, we wouldn't need coaches and therapists, right? We just tell people stop it. But it's a lot deeper, and we don't go into the psychological realm, but the concept is reparenting the inner child. It's just not just looking at your inner child. We starting to take authority and responsibility for that inner child. So we'll say to you, we do a little meditation. How do you see yourself? And I'm playing, and what does it feel like? Oh, I'm a bit shy. Okay, now you as the adult, as the parent, tell that child, I'm here for you. You're safe. You don't have to be shy. I'll speak up for you. And it changes your physiology and your mindset that, you know what, I don't have to rely on the things that weren't given me.
So interesting.
It wasn't the stuff that happened that still has to affect me now. So the concept is to eradicate the demons of the past, the fears, the limiting beliefs, and take authority for them now. So just because this happened when I was 6 years old, I can change that, and I can now. Okay, I was always bullied, but now I'm an adult. I can be a parent to myself and say, okay, if I get bullied, I can speak up. I can say stop, and it changes. It's a magical process.
It's about time to become an adult and forget about what happened.
It's reparenting. So it's becoming the parent you never had in situations that you feel, I wish my dad listened to me. He was there but never present. Okay, how would it sound if your dad heard you? Let's talk to yourself. Tell that inner child, this is what you'd like to have heard. And you start changing that belief that I was neglected, I was abused, I was hurt, I was traumatized. And we change the physiology about that, and it has a new energy in it. That's the power.
And you're doing it by asking questions, those powerful questions. Does it mean that you're challenging your client to some extent, like to open up this obsession zone and clean it up?
It's on one side it's asking, but at the same time we're also teachers. Because some of the terminology we use,
so it's kind of education.
People would never know. If I come to you and I said, what are your saboteurs? I mean, a lot of people don't even know what a saboteur is. So we have to educate at the same time as liberate.
Wow.
So it's not enough to come with coaching and psychological terminology and mindset, and then the person who's in front of you has no idea about trauma, fears. You know,
that's why one of your episodes is about terminology,
absolutely,
coaching
absolutely,
terminology. So
absolutely.
you are educating your clients so that you are on the same page at least, and you have the same views on things.
Yes, and the purpose of Nima and Mai's journey was awareness. If you once you know, you can do better, or you at least you know you have the power to do better. If you're unaware, most people don't change because they don't know how to change.
Yeah. So the difference between you and coaching and therapists is that you don't say just stop it.
No.
Yeah,
there's a lot to
joking.
I love this career, so I don't want to end it so quick by telling people, oh, you're making a story, stop it, move on. Like, it would be so easy, but I wouldn't have to have this lovely journey that's created, and you see the evolution of the person. So
some performance coaches say that you have to cut your past and just look forward and live in the future.
There's different ways. Your past is only important if it affects your present. I believe that. So if there's nothing affecting you now, there's no need, oh, let's just go do inner child healing. Well, no, all I want is to be more powerful. And we can look at that. But if there's something holding you back from being powerful, then we have to change direction. We see the trauma. I mean, we're seeing so many people with the pandemic. The fear that's instilled is causing people to be afraid.
Exactly.
And we can say to people, which is what starts the conflicts, oh, you're being a baby, oh, just get over it, don't be afraid. But the fear is inside. So we tell them, don't be afraid, you're making a drama, you're blah, blah, blah. But that fear to that person is real. So to you, it's, oh, come on, I'm strong, I'm tough. Sure, great. But to someone else, it's very personal. And until you help them understand that and realize that that fear is in the past, it's not here, then they can move on. But until then, it's not so easy to just say to someone, stop being afraid of the boogeyman, when to them, they experienced it in their own personal experience, which is where we misinterpret others. You should be like this, and I should be like this. At some point, we have to understand we're all individuals. And everybody's hurting a different way.
Exactly. I know that you're a member of Etiquette, and it's a B2B platform where a big business meet highly qualified coaches and trainers. And you're one of those coaches and trainers on Etiquette. And what do you offer to your corporate clients? And what is the ROI for a company if they hire a coach like you?
Good question. I'm developing a course with Lisa on burnout. Something that I provide is understanding how the relationship between bosses, employees, and employer and employees can be beneficial if everybody has a better understanding of the individual self and then your dynamic. Because your environment is very powerful. So for companies to have a better ambience, a better relationship between the management and the employees, this work about the individual and how because in every ecosystem, it's each individual that contributes, right? The ecosystem survives based on individuality. We're only as strong as the weakest link, right? So if the person who's leading is powerful, as we know, the leader influences a lot. And if that leader is leading from a place of insecurity, fear, subconscious is most of it as well. So they project that. If I'm afraid and not trusting because I was betrayed as a child, the saying by one of my doctors that I follow is, Dr. Gabo Mate, is he who lies in reality is because he's been hurt by reality. So we project the things that have affected us. We're distrusting, we're fearful. And so when we bring that into as a leader, we project that. No matter what you say or do, because I don't trust myself, I'm not going to trust you. And when we heal that and we understand that, and in group coaching, in individual coaching, we start to understand our contribution to ourselves, to our family, to the team, and to the company, and to the government, and to the country, and to the whole humanity.
The impact is that changing the culture in the company and the changing the interactions between people in the company. Is that...
I prefer to focus more on each person's contribution to themselves and then to the company. I don't believe you can change a culture until each individual accepts themselves. Because as long as each person has their own fears, they're going to come with their own projection. I understand this is how it should be, but I'm not like that. I'm fearful, I'm distrusting. So yes, I understand the philosophy, but until I heal my fear, I'm not going to be able to trust you, no matter how you say, well, we should all go to church, right? When you're in the congregation, if you have your devil and angel here, you're going to have your questions, right? So,
Interesting, really. I know that to be a coach, you need to have a coach yourself.
Yes.
And you mentioned it today, and I know that Ken Mossman is one of those coaches you had in your life. And he is, as you already said, the coach who deals with inner child healing. But at the same time, he is a coach for men.
yes.
And you told me in our previous conversation that now you're developing a new course, and it will be oriented specifically on men's problems.
Yes.
Ken Mossman, he's saying that women and men are absolutely different, and the biggest difference is in their emotional vocabulary and grammar.
Absolutely.
Why do you think men need some specific attention these days?
For various reasons. Such a nice question. Due to our survival years ago, centuries ago, we had to be strong. And strong meant not showing emotion. Because showing emotion is, if you're in survival, if you show emotion to your predator, and you're like, oh, come on, to give you a hug, don't attack me, let me love you, it's not going to work, right? And so as we evolved, it became more commonplace for men to hide emotions, partly because they were the protector, the breadwinner.
They're stronger physically.
And with all the movement we're seeing now, there's more emphasis on women's problems, equality, #MeToo, and rightly so, okay? But somehow the men are getting neglected. It's like this, I wrote an article just a couple of days ago on masculine toxicity. I don't even like that word, toxicity. So I find wounded masculinity is more powerful. So with all the emphasis on pedophilia, women, somehow the men are getting blamed a lot for it, maybe rightly so or not, it's very subjective, but also not enough attention has been brought to the fact that a lot of the way they are is brought on from childhood and stigmatized by society. If you're not a sexual prowess, if you're not strong and burly, if you're not aggressive, then you're weak. And it's such a sad misconception that is evolving even more and more and more. And as we evolve more into that, the separation between you are the problem and we want to solve ourselves, it creates a bigger divide.
I remember in one of my interviews, I was asked why I don't have a course for men. Because really men need attention. That's why I'm happy you start doing this hard job, because not many people who are dealing with men's problems now. Now we are at Lux Etiquette and Service Cafe. So let's speak about service.
Okay.
Webster's dictionary gives the definition of service. It says that service is an act of kind assistance.
Yes.
So actually what we're doing now, we are serving each other, I would say.
Yes.
And service could be based on time and energy and money, but it's not always money which is involved, because some people could give not their resources, but their resourcefulness, like compassion, their attention, their love. So the resources of their heart, not of their wallet. What is service for you, and does it apply to your job?
Absolutely. I feel like my whole coaching journey, and I class myself more as a healer now more than a coach. Service is how we can bring unity and healing to ourselves, our families, our communities, our cities, our countries, and as a human race. So for me, it's very important to give selflessly. I don't know if this is part of my own childhood trauma, or it's just something that I learned to become, I developed within me as a purpose and something that brings fulfillment. So service is giving to self too, not just giving to society and to family and then you're left depleted. It's also very important to what do you need?
Yeah, start with you.
Start with you.
Yeah. One of the goals of coaching is to make your clients happier. But to make the world happier, you should be happy yourself.
Absolutely.
Are you a happy person?
100%. 100%. Good. 100%.
They say that happiness is compiled of some chemicals, like a dose of happiness is compiled of dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin,
the love chemical, yes,
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 and
yes.
endorphin, like dose,
Yes.
abbreviation.
Yes.
And what makes your happiness hormones peak? Where were you the happiest?
Angela, I think if I'm going to do subjectively, because I don't believe so much in, as much as I don't believe in blaming. I also don't want to apportion too much, because then it looks like, okay, don't blame people for your situation, but then you're putting your happiness on other things. So for me, it's...
that's an interesting approach.
I'm happy sitting here with you, but the happiness was with my own evolution, my own healing, letting go, because then you find that the happiness, you open the spring from within. You remove all the rocks and weeds that were blocking this, the oxytocin and endorphins from flowing. So you start finding that it's here first. So it's a more powerful source than to say, well, it's my relationship, or it's my kids, or it's my job. Because as soon as those things are dysfunctional, then you find you're disempowered.
When were you the happiest? Can you remember the moment? Or a few moments? When did you feel complete and entire happiness?
My daughter's being born.
Okay.
That was a magical moment. Yes. That was nice. That was nice. And I feel like this year especially has been a big evolution for me. There's been transformative moments since end of last year and starting and this year. I don't know if there's any milestones that I can answer your question with, but it's been a gradual. I have a favorite saying. It's the grains of sand in the oyster that make the pearl.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been the small
wisdom
things.
of little steps.
It's been a lot of small. My daughter's being born were too monumental, and those are really happy and special. But anything else, it was all, I look back and there's so many small things coming up, like, wow, I love that, and that changed, and that I saw an awareness then.
But that's really beautiful. I looked into your eyes when you were saying, when my daughter was born, and you looked so happy.
It was really great.
Okay. Jade Shetty, one American writer and motivator and public speaker, he says that in one of his podcasts, he says that we are wired for generosity, but we are educated for greed. We are told that there are a finite number of places in a college, or a finite number of tickets for the plane, or finite number of people who are successful. In the theater of happiness, in the theater of your dreams, there are infinite number of places, and even more. One of those seats has your name on it. And some people just lose this belief. Somebody will make it before you make it, and it erases victim mindset, which makes you unhappy. Meaning that I'm not the creator of my life, but life is happening to me. How can we change this victimhood mentality?
I feel it's healing, awareness and healing. It's so nice to hear that, but it also creates for people who are in pain, Angela. It's all great for people who have a certain awareness and have a certain resilience, a certain level of life. It's easier to grow on that. But there's some people who it's just dark for whatever reason, and to say to someone, well, there's hope, and they're feeling so much individuality, pain, neglect. We discard so much of what happens to human beings that we just think, well, you should, it's there. Why not? Just reach out, just wake up. And it's not that easy. We're living in a time where we have more pain than ever. So even with the evolution of technology and intelligence, we're finding more darkness.
So if your client comes to you and say, I'm not happy, so he doesn't call it problem, he says, I'm not happy, what would you advise, or what would you tell him? What questions would you ask him?
Just be happy.
Just be
No.
happy. Just stop it.
That's
Just stop it.
exactly.
Just be happy.
Exactly.
By the way, just be happy is also powerful. And even this just stop it joke is still very powerful, because sometimes we have this pen in our hands and we are writing our biography, this book which is compiled of articles of our biography.
I don't know.
What do you think?
I think we could sit on that one for quite some time. It is good for people who have resilience and people who have a certain level of connection with happiness. Then you can say that. But if someone's never felt happiness, how do you feel something you've never felt? Some people grow up never really knowing what happiness is. And the powerful fundamental development on that is the child-parent attachment. If that child-parent attachment is dysfunctional, a lot of people don't know how to feel love. You say to someone, love yourself. What does that even mean? I was never taught that. Yeah. Emotions are learned, right? So you have to feel an emotion to know what it feels like to able to develop on it. And if you say to someone, just be happy, well, that's like saying to someone who's never driven a car, just drive the car. Well, what do I do with it?
Yeah.
I see it, I can use it,
Yeah.
but if you tell me to drive it and take authority, I'll be lost. I find it very crippling to say, just be happy, because the people that don't know that, they even like, okay, I want to be, everyone makes it sound so easy, there's posts, there's stuff about it, but I don't know how to feel it, so there's something wrong with me. And then you create this divide and isolation and loneliness and pain. Like, why can't I feel that?
Yeah.
Everyone says just be it. I'm like, okay, so I don't know if I resonate with that so fully.
Thank you. It was a very good explanation of your views on that. And yes, I would rather agree with you that you cannot just say, just don't be unhappy, just be happy. No, it doesn't work.
Why? And that's the coaching part.
Yeah.
Why are you unhappy? What would, to you, what would, when was the last time you felt happy?
Yeah, so it takes a lot of work.
It takes a lot, okay, what is it that you're feeling is blocking you from being happy? And something that Joe Dispenza, I follow him, says, and I use this on me a lot, is think greater than you feel. Okay, so I feel down, I don't understand happiness, I don't understand love, but to change that, you have to be in a different state. And it's the awareness, it's the education. If we don't know, you don't know, right? And as soon as you know, I feel that's, for me, the beginning of the light switching on. And it's got one of those dimmer switches. You get to then adjust how much you want to see or not. End of the day, it comes down to each individual. How much do you want to go down this road? How much do you want to learn or not? And never with judgment. Always compassion and empathy and understanding that each person has their own story. And as long as we love and accept that, then we can create. The minute we judge and project, then we create dissonance and divide. But awareness.